Hello and welcome to Kitter Farms. We're back with another episode of Taheton County, Iowa, and today we're going to be jumping into our harvest. We've moved the time forward from our late spring when we were spraying last episode all the way up into harvest time. We've got soybeans ready to go. Look at all of these beautiful row crop ready rows, and our corn will be ready in the next month or so. So we'll go ahead and get everything set up. We're going to use this new big honeybee header and see how that works out for us. Now, my thought is that we're going to hook this thing up with the trailer hitch here and take the header out to one of the other fields and get started. I'm not going to run the pickup truck on this, I don't think, because we might as well just haul it out there with the combine. We've only got the one header. We don't have that many acres of soybeans, and it's a big header, so we should be able to knock things out pretty easily here with the header. I'm looking at it here. It's a little close to that sprayer. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get in here to hook this up and drag it out. Let me see. It's not looking likely, so we're going to have to probably go grab the pickup truck and pull that out of there to be able to get connected, because I just don't see any way for me to get back in here and get this hooked up without driving into the sprayer or the building or something. So let's go grab that real quick. I do have a snow plow in the shed here, or the garage here, that we're going to be able to use in the winter, squirreled away. I almost forgot that I put that in here. I suspect we're going to get a fair amount of snow on this map when the winter comes, and I'm worried we're going to have a hard time getting out of here and putting things into the sell points, so we're gonna need to plow at least our farmyard, and we'll see how the roads are, but that's something to worry about a little bit later here. For right now, we're gonna see if I can get backed in here and hopefully pull this header out of here. There we go. Now, this honeybee header cart is one of the weirder carts that we have, and I don't remember if I have to remain hooked up to this thing or not when we're going to be disconnecting it. So that might be a problem where I'm going to need to bring the truck out to the field anyway. But now that I'm thinking about it, do I really want to bring this thing out into the field with the header and everything? Let's think about this for a minute. I think we may actually want to hook this header up. Yeah, I think we don't want to bring this thing out. I think we want to come out here to the other field and actually harvest the soybeans right here. I think I can get the header through this area, and we can take care of these beans first, and then we'll drive it out to that field on the other side and let Courseplay do the harvesting on the other side. But we'll do all of the field right up next to the farm here manually today, and that'll give us a good opportunity to kind of mix things up and do some of the manual driving with all this row crop ready stuff, and then we can also pivot and see how Courseplay handles it. I think I like this idea a lot better. So let's go ahead and get hooked up to this, and I guess we're going to find out if I need the truck on here or not. Let me see if I can get lined up a bit better here. There we go, and looks like it disconnected from the front already, and then I can drop the other part of the trailer off right here. Perfect. All right, so I don't need the truck, at least to get it off of the trailer. I guess we'll have to figure out if you need it to get it back on at a later point. But right now, let's get out of our corn here and take this thing out here and see if we can start off on this soybean field that's right up behind the farm here. This header is so wide, trying to squeeze through here. We didn't think about needing to get through here with the header when we put these placeables down. It looks like I've got just enough room to squeeze by, though. And let's see if I can... Oh, we've got that RTK station I put down. I think I can get past it. We're going to have to go into the bushes here. There was a fence here when I put it down, so it wasn't really in the way, but that might be another thing that we need to relocate at some point. If we can squeeze our way in here, ignoring the fact that I'm putting that thing into the bushes so much. And the one thing that we've talked about in the previous episode with the sprayer, and now we're on to the combine header here, is we got a header that's the right width to match up with our planter. So I'm going to be able to get this thing going, and we will be harvesting a full planter's width in a single pass. This is going to work out perfectly for us. And man, this headland is a little bit more angled than I anticipated, but hopefully we're not going to run into too many troubles with that. This is a big header, and I find that these big implements tend to run into some problems from time to time with having ground that's too slanted. You get hung up on things and stuff, but this thing seems to be handling everything really well right now, so I'm impressed by that. And it looks like I spoke too soon. What is going on here? We're not harvesting at all. I think it might be because we're too far off the ground. Let me just try and come at it. Yeah, a little bit of an angle, and nope, we're still having problems. Let's see. Yeah, we're hanging up on the left-hand side. There's just such a huge gap underneath the header here that we're not able to keep going. I'm looking to see if there's any way for me to adjust the header. I kind of thought that this thing had some adjustment. Still looking. I don't think it's got any options to flex. I thought this is the one that flexed in the middle, and you could actually control the wings a little bit on it, but I'm not seeing any options for that. So we may have to get creative here with trying to harvest this headland. Maybe if we back up here and kind of come at it from a little bit of an angle, try to get up on the hill a little bit more. Not really helping here, unfortunately. Maybe we'll go down the hill some? Not so much. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up here. That seems to be working. And maybe we can just kind of do some swaths and get past this little part right here that's problematic. I'm going to push through? No? Man, I kind of thought I'd start harvesting by now. We're just driving over crops at this point. This is going to be a problem for us, isn't it? Well, we're going to have to figure out how to split the header on this wonky part, I guess. Maybe we'll just come way up here and see if I stay up on top of the hill, if it works a little bit better. We're not really wanting to cut all those other rows like that, but I guess with a cutter head like this, it doesn't matter if you're going against the row a little bit. You probably wouldn't want to tackle them straight on like this. You'd get a lot of dirt in the sickle, but I think we got past the hardest part. Hopefully we can make our way around the rest of this headland without running into too many issues. I did it again. We're speaking too soon, and we run into some more issues. Well, we're just going to keep working our way around the headland, I guess, and doing this thing where we weave in and out and try and get things taken care of here. I'm just hoping that when we come back, how are we going to get these few rows that we're missing right now? I guess we can go all the way down and just tackle them straight on. Maybe when we're doing the up-down rows, I'll just drive straight into the end and stop just before we hit the cornfield. I don't know. We're going to have to figure something out, though, because this is just a mess. Man, I really thought that this header flexed more than this. Maybe I'm thinking of a different header. I thought there was a header out there that flexed with the ground and would bow in the middle depending on which way the ground was bending. Maybe the ground's just bending too much for it in this case, but I don't think so. I mean, I feel like I've harvested on much bumpier fields than this in the past. However, it looks like we're going good now, so I'm going to just keep trucking here to the end with the headland passes, and then we'll probably do the same thing we did with the sprayer and just circle around on the outside parts of this field. It's certainly been working better everywhere else now that we've gotten away from that early part of the headland pass. And like I just said, I think we're going to cut across the waterway here and just follow around the headland. We can always come straight across the waterway when we're harvesting the up-down rows. So I'm trying to kind of follow where the curved rows of the planter are. We got a lot of double rows there. It looks like I did a terrible job here, though. I don't know what we were doing with the planter back there. It looks a little bit crazy. Good thing we've got the cutting head on, and the actual rows don't matter too much. And I'm just noticing as we're turning around here that our bushels per acre are coming in at 210 bushels an acre for row crop soybeans. That seems high. Now, I don't remember what the yield numbers are in more modern times, but I know that back when I used to farm in the early 90s or whenever that was, man, that was a long time ago, we were not looking at yields that high. We were looking at yields that were under 100 for sure, and I want to say closer to like 60 to 90, somewhere in that range. Maybe it was even less than that. I can't remember off of the top of my head now what a good average bushel per acre for soybeans is, but for corn, typically I would see, you know, something in the 200s maybe, but never soybeans. That's just crazy, but we'll have to figure that out. Maybe it's a part of the whole row crop ready thing where the bushels per acre are reading higher because the rows are so much shorter. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But yeah, it looks like we've got some more issues with our ground height up on this end of the field as well. Unfortunately, I'm trying not to make a huge mess of this, but I just don't know what to do other than try and approach it from a few different angles and see if we can find a spot where the header's going to let us pick up our crops. We can always come back after the fact and try and clean some of this up. Maybe we'll just back up here and I'll approach it head on like we were talking about doing on the other end of the field. If I can just clean some of this up out of here, then we can always get back to normal up-down rows after we get the headland off. There's a lot of room over here, so this is going to probably be our easiest way to handle this. And I'm just looking at how full our hopper is right now, too. We're already at 85%. Oh, we're driving over the beans. Oh, so horrible. Let's just try our best to not drive over the crops today. 86% full. We're going to need to empty out before we get all the way around the field, I think. I don't think there's any way that I make it all the way down to the entrance of the field again with the amount of hopper space we have right now. So we're going to have to get that grain cart set up sooner than later and brought out to the field here, I think. Hopefully, though, I can at least get to the corner. I'd like to get this whole headland off before we have to get the grain cart out here, but we're already pushing 90% now. My hope is that we can get to the corner and then turn around and bring this headland pass to our right back before we need to empty. But I'm looking at the percentage going up on our hopper here. The beans are piling up, and I just don't think we're going to barely get to the corner with how it's going right now. So I guess we're going to be hoofing it back up to the farm to get that grain cart brought out here sooner than I anticipated. And we're coming right up to the corner. We got 99%. My goodness, we're cutting it close here. I'm going to see if I can at least cut out part of the corner so that I've got somewhere to put the combine, and then I can get the grain cart down here alongside me and filled up. I'm going to not go too far down these rows. I want to cut as much of this headland swath out as I can because that's going to give me somewhere to park. There it is, 100%. Didn't get as far as I'd hoped, but we'll toss the pipe out here, get ourselves turned around and parked right over into this hole, this little pocket that we cut out. And yeah, we got to get that grain cart. Now my plan is to use this nice 9RX to run the grain cart. A little bit overpowered maybe, but we've got a big grain cart. And as we get going with two of these combines out in the field hauling corn around, I think we're going to need the extra capacity for this big grain cart, and we'll definitely put it through its paces. We could have gotten away with something smaller, I suppose, but in my mind, I'm thinking this thing is going to expand quite a bit as we get going, and I'd rather have some big equipment to get started with, because we're going to grow into it with the farm on this map. There's a lot of fields out there ready for us to get bought up and start planting on, and I can't wait to see this farm get a bit bigger. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to drive all the way around the outside of this field because we don't have another easy way to get over to where the combine got itself full. So we'll catch up with you over in the other corner of the field here. All right, here we are, and I always forget how big these X9s are, how much they can hold in the hopper here. I guess I could have looked before we jumped over into the grain cart again, but we'll find out the old-fashioned way when we get the grain cart filled up. But I think it's going to be quite a bit of beans going into the grain cart here. If I remember right, I think these combines hold almost 500 bushels. Let's find out here. 380. It's still going. 459. Okay, not quite 500, but pretty close. 460 is pretty close. So we're going to just, I think, back this grain cart up. We're going to leave it down here on this end of the field, though, because I know we're going to need to unload again. And my hope is that we can get the headlands knocked out here with the combine, and then we'll start working on our up-down rows. So I'm going to try and get spun around here without running into anything. A little bit tricky. There's a fence and a tractor and all kinds of stuff in the way, but we've got it, and I'm loving this setup. Outside of the issues we're having with the header not always picking stuff up, I'm absolutely loving having equipment that's matched up so perfectly from a row count perspective. It just feels so much more realistic to me. I need to make sure I'm paying more attention to this kind of stuff in the future, and I'm matching my equipment up even when we're not playing with RowCrop ready maps. I feel like it's the little things like that that I really like. And jumping in cab here just for a moment to see all the rows lined up and run our middle bar down the rows, but unfortunately as soon as I jump in cab we start running over crops because it's so much harder to see and the ground is so unlevel in this corner here. I knew better. I should have thought about the fact that we were having problems when we came down here. You go and switch out into some other equipment and let some time pass, and you forget what you were struggling with. You forget the things that you're supposed to be remembering. So I'm going to just try and clean this corner up. It's going to be a little bit of a fight, but hopefully once we get this cleaned up, we can get back to business as usual. Now, as long as I'm down here, we might as well finish running the headland pass, I think, down to the corner of this field, just because all these rows do go at the other angle. I think this is going to be the thing that makes the most sense to me, and it'll give me an opportunity to clean up the part of the field that's just down on the angle. I should be able to take care of everything that's past the power pylon there, and we'll be good to go. I'm loving this RowCrop ready stuff, though. It's been a lot of fun so far. And since I'm already down here, I'm going to jump right across, and we're going to clean up this a little bit, just since I was in the perfect position to do it. That way I don't have to think about it. We can just tackle the long rows after this. And maybe what we'll do, I'm thinking as I go here, is I'll follow the headland around on the right here. We'll go try and clean up those little bits and pieces that we missed on the way in here. Maybe coming at it from the other side is going to make it a little bit easier for us to tackle. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to steal a few rows here. It doesn't really matter. We'll have a gap when we come back because this thing matches up with my planner exactly. We're just going to have a few rows missing. I probably should have lifted up as we went around this, but it is what it is. And let me see here. We've got a handful of rows out here in the grass. I'm not sure I'd really want to be running my header through this much grass in real life, but we're going to try and get as much of these soybeans as we can. But I'm not picking up anything right now, and we're just running over rows again. So let me back up here. We're going to come straight at it and see if that's going to be the trick. It does seem to be working for us, so I think what we're going to have to do is just go up and down this entire headland pass and go straight out at a 90-degree angle to the rows and see if we can gather the rest of these soybeans without running into the cornfield. I'm not sure how the header would interact with that corn. It's not ready to harvest, but we do have crop destruction on, so I won't want to go flying off into that cornfield for sure, because we could wreck a lot of corn pretty quickly with a header this wide. So we'll be careful. And there we go. I've got all of the headland bits off, so we might as well just leave the header drop down. I'll take a little bit more off the top of the hill here, just in case we run into any issues when we're coming down the long rows. It'll help give us a little bit more space that we can turn around with, and we've just got such an angle that we're dealing with here. It's a little bit of a pain, but we're figuring it out as we go. We might come in here with the landscaping tool after we're through harvest and see if we can make this a little easier. But I think what we want to do is see if I can turn right into these long rows, and we'll take this down to the end of the field. I want to see if I can get lined up for our GPS heading though. So I'm going to try and get focused on the row here, and I should be able to start this off plus or minus a degree. I can't remember what my degree settings are on. I think it might be 5 degrees, or maybe it's less than that, but I like to get pretty close, get that fired up. We've definitely started to master this new enhanced vehicle mod, at least for the basic operations. I feel like I've got all the things done that I would need to do for the normal guidance steering mod. And now we need to start taking a look at some of the more advanced features and functions that this thing has to offer. I'm not versed on all of that right now, and I don't want to try and figure that out in the middle of the episode here, so I think we'll get through this field as is, and then maybe for the next episode we'll start playing with some of those more advanced options. We'll see how it goes, but we're making great progress here. And man, I think that we're gonna probably empty out when we get to the end row here, just to get us going, make sure that we're ready to start doing the up-down rows. I don't know, let's think about that. We're over half full. I think we might as well just dump into the grain cart since it's sitting here and we're here anyway. It'll make life easier than having to dump at another point, and then also we can probably get the semi pulled out and figure out how we're going to load that up, because I think with a couple of loads here we're going to be pretty close to filling up that semi. I guess we're not full right now, so we'll be a little bit less than a full semi hopper, but it'll probably make sense to go ahead and get that all set up and ready to go. We can at least get the semi in position, and then we'll pull this out of the way. That's why I'm switching over here. Make sure that we can do our up-down rows successfully, and then we can always unload the combine another time here to get enough to fill that semi up before we empty this thing out. So I'm just going to park this here along the rows. I'm not going to go too far, because we'll unload the combine on its way down the long rows at some point here. But we've got a fair capacity on this thing, so we're going to be able to knock out a few rounds here before we start getting full. And I did say that I wanted to do this harvesting ourselves, so I'm going to try and get myself lined up here. We're going to see how good of a job we did on the planting side. Let's see what our GPS is going to do as we work our way down multiple passes here, if we're still more or less on the planting rows or not. It's pretty easy to see where those planting rows are based on looking at the end rows when we get there. But I think this is going to be a great time to jump into a bit of a time lapse. We've got just a lot of harvesting we need to do here, and rather than cut it all out, I think we'll time lapse, montage, whatever we call it these days. Here we go. All right, so we were able to finish up this entire field without needing to pull that semi out, so I just went ahead and did it. That's a lot of beans. I don't think the last of these beans is going to make its way into the trailer, though. I think we might end up with a little bit left in the combine. That's all right. We'll be able to empty the grain cart and then bring it back out here and finish off getting the beans out of the combine. We've been busy today, though. It's been a lot of fun, and let's see how this goes. We might squeeze them in there. I don't know. It looks like there's a bit more capacity in that trailer than I thought. We'll try and eke over here so it doesn't look like I'm spilling beans all over the place. And no, that thing's filling up fast. All right, it was deceptive. So we're not going to get them all in there. We're still going to have probably a couple hundred bushels left in here, although it's still going, even though it doesn't look like it's moving up. Oh man, maybe we will? No. All right, 144 bushels left. That's all right. I think we'll park this thing down here on the other end of the field, and then that will allow me to go grab the semi here, and we'll get that into position before I try and drive the grain cart out of the field, because I want to make sure that we've got enough room to park it. And of course, I can't get in that door. We're going to have to open it up from the inside. All these different doors on these sheds. I do actually like the realism, but sometimes you just want the door to open from wherever you are. But we've got it now. We'll grab this semi. We've got the white and the black semi here. And let's see here, get into some gears. Alrighty. And of course, we've left our header trailer just laying out in the middle of the yard. Hopefully I don't clip that on the way by. I'm trying to think where the best place to fill this thing up is. I could leave it here on the long side, but I think there's going to be enough room. If I hug close to these bins, I can just park it right here on the corner, and we'll be able to get the grain cart up here to unload, and then I can pull forward and dump into the bin site. I think this is going to work. If it doesn't, I can just pull around, I suppose. So we'll park it. Yeah, that's good. All the way back. Oh, the fence. We're stuck on the fence. All the way back out here to the grain cart. It's a long jog here. I was going to say it's been a long day. We're getting close to the end of the day, but I've been running the time on half speed, and it's only 10 a.m. Looking at the capacity here in this grain cart, we've got 1,425 bushels. So this isn't even going to fit in the semi. We're going to have to run multiple semi-loads, which is awesome. Means we'll have more crops to sell during the winter months. Well, actually, soybeans, I guess, is more of a summer sell. So we'll be hanging on to these until the middle of next year. But that's going to give us something to do next year instead of just spraying and then forwarding time by months and months. See if I can sneak in here. We're at kind of an awkward angle here. I guess I really didn't think about how big this 9RX is and being able to fit that in here when we're trying to pull forward. I'm really hoping I can get the second hopper filled up. I might have to back that semi up. We might be able to do it. I think we're going to try and squeeze forward here. There we go. All filled up. Yes, there we are. And I've got just enough room to inch up here. I suppose I could leave this thing here and fill the combine. I don't think I can get in here with the header for the combine. I don't think that's going to be a good idea. We're going to jump in the semi, though. It's almost done being filled up, and we're going to get this thing unloading into the bin site here. I'm excited. Our first RowCrop crops coming off of the map and going into storage. So I'm going to just pull this thing straight up here, and that's right. If I remember right, people have mentioned this in the comments that the bins don't actually hold the RowCrop soybeans. Just checking to make sure we're over the grate. I think I'm going to have to edit the XML files for the map and get that all set up. So what we're going to do, I think, is wrap up the episode here for today. I'm going to get all the beans emptied out of the combine. And next time, we're going to start the episode off with a bit of a tutorial on the things that I need to do to update this map to allow us to add RowCrop soybeans to the storage, and then I know people have also said that the sell points are going to need editing to sell RowCrop soybeans. So we'll take care of all of that in the beginning of next episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. And that's all for today. Kedrick out.